Ever since Francis Ngannou's win over Renan Ferreira, I've been seeing a lot of talk. I've been seeing a lot of claims, been seeing a lot of statements being made regarding legacy and who the greatest heavyweight of all time is. I've been seeing a lot of people say Francis Ngannou is the greatest heavyweight of all time now. Now, not only that, I've also been seeing people say he's still like the best heavyweight in the world. I will concede one of those 2 points. I will I would concede him being the best heavyweight in the world. I mean, the guy faced the best in the UFC, left for 2 years, got knocked out by Anthony Joshua, and then what, 6 months later, 8 months later, came back and knocked out the PFL's best fighter. And people can shit on Renan Ferreira all they want, but I mean, pretty sure that guy's on fucking roids. I mean, he has like 3 no contest. I don't know what for. Obviously, I'm making claims, but wouldn't be surprised if he was. I mean, he beat a really big and athletic heavyweight, slumped them out cold. I mean, there were some back of the head shots, but like those were only after like Ferreira was dead, and he just had to convince the ref to stop the fight. So I don't blame him for that. But I will concede that he's the best heavyweight currently in the world. And you know what? I would say he's number 2 heavyweight division all time. It's really hard to put him above Stipe Miocic, and people are gonna people are gonna try and be like, oh, but look at the guys he's beat, fucking Junior Dos Santos. Like, look, he's got Cain Velasquez, Junior Dos Santos. He's beat Stipe. He has Gane. He now has Overeem, Arlovski. He has Blaydes. I I like the guys who Stipe's beat more. I mean, so let's get some overlapping wins out of the way. We're gonna ignore this loss of Stefan Struve because that had a big eye poke in it. This loss is legit. We'll just get that out the way. People like to bring up the champions that Francis has beat. You want to know something funny? The guys that like look. So they're gonna bring up Junior Dos Santos, good win. Cain Velasquez, I don't value this win whatsoever because Cain was coming off a 3-year layoff after a bad knee injury. He was like 40, and he blew out his knee immediately in the fight. But look, Overeem, Arlovski, look when he beat Overeem. Look when he beat Arlovski. Look when he beat Dos Santos. I mean, Stipe, he beat all of these guys before Francis did. But for some reason, it's just not valued the same way. And I know that people will try to argue it because he beat France, because Francis beat him. But I mean, he also beat Francis for 5 rounds. I mean, here's the thing: they're 1-1. So, and people are there's asterisks for both of them. There's real asterisks for both of them as of right now because people are gonna be like, oh, well, that was Francis when he was just swinging wildly. Still does it. And then, I mean, you could argue after this, you could be like, oh, well, this is Stipe post getting knocked out by DC and having 3 fucking wars with him and being 37 and being out for like a year. Was he out for a year? Yeah, he was out for like a fucking year. Dude, this guy is always out for like a fucking year. So it seems. That's not helping my case. That's not helping my case at all. I don't know why I'm saying that. But I don't know where all these claims that Ngannou is now the best heavyweight ever just came out of. It's like before you would see a couple people say it, but majority of people would just ignore it, but now it's like the rise of people just saying, "Oh, Francis is the greatest heavyweight of all time." It's kind of insane. Like, brother, where were you when he got knocked out by Anthony Joshua? The same people who are probably saying Francis is the greatest heavyweight of all time are probably the same guys who are being like, "Well, Anthony Joshua did that to him. John Jones would have killed him," or some stupid bullshit that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Like, listen, Francis doing what he's doing at this age, that's great. That's greatness. I think he's the best heavyweight currently. I think you could probably argue Tom Aspinall, but I mean, I wouldn't. Listen, I'm a Tom Aspinall Glazer. I'll say Francis is currently better than him right now. Just because, he's proven how well-rounded he is, and, he slept someone on the ground. John Jones didn't do that. Sorry, I had to throw in a John Jones diss there because I fucking hate him. But I don't see where this argument of greatest heavyweight of all time came from. So I like if we're looking at his best wins, what I think are his people. You know what people will say? I'll see people say shit like Tom Aspinall hasn't beaten fucking anybody, but then be like, oh, but Francis Ngannou is so great, and then they'll bring up a win over Curtis Blaydes or Jairzinho Rosenstrike. Curtis Blaydes, Tom Aspinall did the same thing, brother. Tom Aspinall did the same thing to him. People are. I'm not gonna go on about this right now. Okay, I got sidetracked. I'm not gonna go on about it. But I don't see where this argument of greatest heavyweight in the world came from. I mean, dude, there's a time where nobody fucking liked Francis. Wait, how many wins in a row is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 in a row. Dude, this Derek Lewis fight, nobody liked him at this time. Nobody liked him. I mean, he just got worked by Stipe, and then he put on the most boring performance. Like, get real. Now, I know. Also, like, you know what I'll admit about this Derek Lewis loss is that it's not the worst in the world, because he was kind of in that in-between phase of he was in that in-between phase of like discovering like his new sense of patience. He was in the in-between phase of learning how to like time and be patient and wait for openings. So I'll give him that. But man, dude, God was kind of he was a bit inactive for fucking sleeping people 24/7. Like what, brother? You had two fights in 2019 and you were sleeping motherfuckers. You fought Rosenstrike May after fighting in June? Dude, I would have fought him in like December. Could have gotten to the belt soon, to be honest. I'm sorry, I don't know why I went on about that. But the argument for him being the heavyweight go, like, you use the wins, and it's the same argument that you can use for Stipe. And I mean, look, like regarding their best wins, let's say Arlovski, we'll say Arlovski, Overeem, Dos Santos, Miocic. Okay, that's Francis's best win. Stipe's best win. Also Arlovski, Dos Santos, Francis, Overeem, Fabricio Werdum, and Daniel Cormier. I mean, the level of competition is just better. He beat like the champ. Let's look at the champion. So how many champions is this? That's one, two, three, four. I guess counting. Should we count on the UFC champion, or should we count interim or anything? Because hold on. I mean, if we're doing this, it's how many champions has he beat? Then it's one, two, three, four. I mean, in order to give Ngannou the same level, you'd have to include Gane and Ferreira. And Gane and Ferreira, I'd throw on the same fucking level as. Never mind. I'd throw them on the same level as like an Alistar Ulfring. But the thing about Cyril Gane is we've seen that this motherfucker can now just get he can be taken down and he'll break on the ground. Ngannou, in all honesty, Ngannou won the fight against Gane because Gane is unironically the dumbest person to exist. I mean, he won that fight because Gane was on top in the fifth round. I think two judges had it 2-2 going into the fifth. One judge had it 3-1 Francis. Don't know how they got that, but one judge had it 3-1 Francis. Or no, two judges had it 2-2. Gane was on top, and then he pulls for a heel hook. The wins where Stipe overcame adversity. Over him, he got dropped, survived the guillotine, got on top, knocked out over him. He's getting whooped this fight, knocked, and then knocked out Cormier using good body shots in boxing. Same in this fight. I mean, Renan Ferreira. I guess we don't really like know how good he is. He hasn't really fought anyone good, but he's been knocked out, so we know that was capable. But like all of his like valuable wins, like against champions, like, are you really gonna value this Cain Velasquez win? Like, are you really gonna value this? Let's look at this. People are gonna be like, oh, but he's coming off a win over Travis Brown in 2016. Hey, can you tell me one guy who Travis Brown has fucking fought? Because I can't. And I love Cain Velasquez. I fucking love Cain Velasquez. The version of him that Francis Ngannou beat was not a good version. He was a shell of his former self. A shell of his former self. This wasn't Cain Velasquez. Francis Ngannou fought the ghost of Cain Velasquez. He fought the corpse of Cain Velasquez. He just wasn't the same. It was a dude who came in with no knee who was 40 years old. Like, he came in because I guess he needed the money or something. I don't know. That doesn't seem like a Cain Velasquez thing to do. That's a bit disingenuous, but I mean the valuable championship wins that he has. I mean, he beat Arlovski when Arlovski was on a 3-fight losing streak. Like when did Stipe beat Arlovski? Arlovski's had quite the fucking career. Stipe started that like 3-fight losing streak. When Stipe beat Arlovski, he was on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a 6-fight win streak. I don't know why I did that like 3 times. This fight that got him his title fight, that's a valuable win for like if we're looking at the wins like when he got them, these aren't the greatest wins. Now there are a couple. The Stipe win, I'm not gonna argue that that was a great win. The Junior Dos Santos win, at the time, was it the best version of Dos Santos? No, but he was coming off 3 wins. It was a good version. Rosenstrike. I mean, Rosenstrike was undefeated, and he got fucking. I mean, he kind of just like swung his arms wildly and caught Rosenstrike. Cain Velasquez is not a good win. The Arlovski one was not good. Two of the champions that people use for Francis Ngannou, those wins are not valuable at all. For when he got them, they are not valuable at all. Honestly, Tom Aspinall's win over Arlovski is better than Francis's win over Arlovski. I'm sorry, that's a bit of a like shit take, but I mean he Tom beat Arlovski on a 2-fight win streak, who then went on to win 4 in a row. Francis beat him when he was on a 3-fight win streak, or 3-fight losing streak, who lost like 2 more after that. Went on like a 5-fight losing streak. Or no, he was on a 3-fight losing streak, lost 1 more after it, had a 5-fight losing streak. Now here's the thing. I'm not saying Francis isn't great. Honest to God, my God, who would he have to beat for me to? I don't know. Honestly, I'd say if he won like 3 more times in PFL against like some of these guys, because I think Renan Ferreira is honest to God elite level. You know the honest truth? Renan Ferreira would be a top 5 UFC fighter, top 5 UFC heavyweight. Renan Ferreira would be a top 5 UFC heavyweight. So I'll give him a lot of value for that win. Because I mean, like a lot of the top 5 heavyweights in UFC are just kind of fucking fat and pathetic. But I don't think he's the greatest heavyweight of all time. Do I think he's close? I think he's close. But I don't think he's the greatest of all time yet. And honestly, if he had gotten one more win in the UFC over like a, let's say he took that John Jones fight and he knocked out John Jones, greatest heavyweight of all time, I wouldn't argue it. I really wouldn't argue it. Do I think he ducked John Jones? No, I think Jones ducked him. Honestly, him being at number 2, I think the Jones ducking him, that's why I put him there too. It's hard to make Jones duck you, man. Well, no, not really. Tom did it too. But in Ngannou, he's I think he's right on the cusp of being the heavyweight GOAT, but it's just hard to put him there currently because of the asterisks next to some of his wins, like Arlovski and Cain Velasquez. But I do think he's close. I don't think he's the greatest though. I still think it belongs to fucking Stipe Miocic. I've been learning some Stipe recently. Fucking yeah, every once in a while you just have to like mutter with a gruff and then yell, "I want my shot," and then that's a 10 out of 10 Stipe impression. I'm sorry, I got sidetracked, but I still think Stipe is a heavyweight goat. The time when he got his wins, I value them more. It's like the same argument for Colby Covington's like wins. Like people shit on his wins, like oh your best win is over Dos Anjos, but that win over Dos Anjos was when Dos Anjos was the number 1 welterweight contender. It was when he was the number 1. People are gonna value Usman's win over RDA at the time, but he fought him after Colby beat him. So I don't know. But that's just my opinion. Listen, I'm open to being changed because I really think I think there's an argument for Francis, but like I think you would really have to like go into the fine detail of every fight side by side for both of them to convince me. But I just I still think Stipe has that good argument. I still think Stipe has that argument. But that's just my opinion. Tell me what you think down below. Uh, if you dislike this video, I don't know. I'm not gonna do anything. Dislike it if you want. I don't care. But have a good day. I don't care. Bye bye.